Hi, everyone. Welcome to our fifth community call. I'm Roland Grouse, product manager at Agoric, and I'll be leading this call. So for those of you expecting Dean, don't worry, he hasn't gone anywhere. He'll be driving plenty of future updates. And I have had 3 extra cups of coffee today, so I will see if I can match his energy. But before we start, I want to give a bit of context for this month's update. We spent a bunch of time in previous updates and community calls talking about our system, often in great detail. And we're building a lot of exciting stuff and all at the same time, and it's kind of easy to gush about one particular part of what we're doing. I want to spend this time talking a little bit more about what this will look like and what it means from the user experience, and taking that from various different users' perspectives. So let's start with highlights from the last month. So this January was awesome for us. We had the Cosmos demo day on January 13th, and for that we shipped an end-to-end demo of our key economy applications, and that meant pulling together a whole bunch of different pieces of our system. So the chain itself, our wallet, our electronic rights transfer protocol, our Zoe framework, IBC, the Ethereum bridge, and building a UI on top of it and making it all work as an end-to-end system. And it was the first iteration of our core economy components. And I'll talk a little bit more about those today, but it's just amazing to see it all work at the same time. So of course, we have a bunch left to build. We saw a bunch of stuff as a result of that demo that we want to improve, but it was a super successful test, and we were all really excited about that. So as part of that, we did a bunch of work to integrate the Cosmos Gravity Bridge, and this was previously called PEGI. And this is so that Ethereum assets can move easily into the Cosmos ecosystem and back, and connect via IBC to any different zone in Cosmos. And this was a major feature of our demo, and we got some great experience there as well. And then, as always, we've made a ton of progress on the platform side. And this included a long sought after goal of building functionality to snapshot running processes for checkpointing. So if you're a validator and something goes wrong, you need to restart, you can do that without having to start the chain from scratch. So that's something we've been working towards for a while. And this was a big part of our January update. So grouping all the engineering work together into one bullet is extremely unfair to the team, and I apologize to everybody for doing that. But we'll take a look at the roadmap in a little more detail later. Okay, so let's get into the main topic here, which is the economy itself. And last month we talked about the Agoric Economy for the first time. And Dean went into some detail on it, and we had our own presentation specifically on the economy. And so this slide is a very, very high-level summary just to refresh everyone on some basic dynamics. So first, Agoric has 2 native tokens, a staking token and what we call our local currency. The local currency is what's used to pay for execution, which is effectively our gas model. And is the base currency for Agoric applications. And so obviously, as a third-party developer, you have choices on what you would want to use to price whatever it is you're doing. If it's an options platform or if you're selling NFTs, you can price in the currency that you want. But know that from Agoric's standpoint, our applications will be priced in the local currency, and execution will be priced in the local currency. So we know that that is the one thing that all users will have in their wallet. The local currency is minted at the Treasury, and it's backed by collateral from Agoric and from other chains. So might be Ethereum assets coming in, it might be atoms coming in, creating vaults to mint the currency, and subject to collateralization requirements and the kinds of things that you're likely used to in DeFi applications. And then so the second currency is the staking token, and that is where users will stake to validators, or rather delegate to validators, accrue rewards and things like that. So I want to spend the next few slides going through what that really looks like from the perspective of different users in the system. So let's start with stakers. So stakers perform a super important role in the Agoric ecosystem by providing a secure environment for contract interactions in a stable economy. And as a result, the holders of the staking token receive rewards for their service from multiple sources. So the first of those rewards is inflationary rewards that you're used to seeing from other proof of stake chains. And that's new issuance, which happens in the early phases to ensure that you're rewarded for staking those tokens. However, you're also entitled to rewards generated from fees in the economy itself. So the first part is the most basic, which is just the actual execution fees for transactions, which is what I mentioned to begin with. The transactions are paid for, our gas is in our local currency. Those fees will accrue to staking to stakers and validators. But then more interestingly, we also have fees coming from the Treasury itself and the native AMM that is part of the Treasury. So as vaults are created, as interest accrues on those vaults, those fees will get paid out to stakers and validators. And then similarly, trading fees from the AMM will in part go to LP liquidity providers, but will in part go to stakers. So that as a staker in the Agoric system, you're benefiting from activity in the economy, and you're tied to the economy much more directly than just sort of paying for transactions. So, we want to make sure that stakers have an interest in and a role in growing the economy itself. Okay, so let's move on then from stakers and look at the Treasury. And again, in very high level, what are the two parts of the system? So we refer to the Treasury as sort of, we also kind of call it our core economy. I'm calling it here the Treasury system because really it includes two major components. One is the Treasury where vaults get minted and vaults get created and local currency gets minted, and then separately our AMM. So as we discussed, vaults will have risk and fees managed based on parameters like liquidation thresholds and liquidation penalties and things like that, which will be set by governance. And we expect to launch with several different asset types. So some of those assets will come from Ethereum, some will be likely Agoric, some will likely be from the Cosmos ecosystem. And those determinations and how that expands over time will be a governance decision. The Treasury, as we showed in the demo, the Treasury will use asset bridges from Ethereum, will use IBC, and so obviously bringing assets in from other chains will be very straightforward for users. Okay, so the other component is the AMM, and in the AMM, we will have on launch, and more details coming, we will have incentives to build liquidity for core pairs with our local currency. And the AMM is going to be using, an XYK curve similar to what you've seen in, Uniswap and other similar implementations. But we also want to have a stable currency swap for any stable asset pairs. So we'll likely launch with both of those. Importantly, one of the reasons that we view these systems as complementary or even the same system is that liquidations that happen on the Treasury, at least during normal market conditions, will occur on our native AMM. So that provides some additional assurances for us on how those liquidations will operate and how efficient it will be. And obviously, we'll have other mechanisms to deal with non-normal market conditions where we don't want liquidations to all of a sudden cause a challenge on the AMM. Okay, so I've talked about these two components independently, and what we believe is that while these will have front ends and users will be able to come to a Treasury application and mint local currency for their wallet and then go somewhere else to deal with a third-party application, where we think this gets really powerful is integrating these things directly in third-party applications. So I'm going to show a very cartoony slide on the developer experience and what this really means. So as an example, the asset bridges that we're showing in our Treasury will be available to you to use so that users can come directly in and in a few clicks either come in, exchange their existing assets for the local currency, or create a vault and mint local currency so that they can interact with your application directly. In a major focus of our company and our project in general and our previous updates has been that what we want to do at Agoric is enable the kind of security that allows you to import code into your contracts and reason about its properties. So this will start with core economy elements, as I'm showing here, but will also include much, much more. So for example, implementations for loan protocols or option protocols. So importing these into your application will not only save you development time, but also improve your security, as you'll be reusing components that have not only potentially undergone security audits, but also battle testing in the field. So, Dean talks a lot about the challenges with leveraging copy-pasted code, and how all of a sudden you change one part of that code and you've nullified all the security properties of it. We really want to avoid that, and being able to directly import these kinds of components into your system does. So, and again, we've had a number of talks in the past about our OCAP security model and ERTP and smart contract framework and the benefits of building in secure JavaScript. But we've talked less about how those things add up to safe code reuse and what that looks like. So we view this as the first step along that pathway. And our unofficial mission, or at least my belief that our unofficial mission, is just to be the safest, fastest, and best place for you to build smart contracts. All right, so let's move on and talk about a couple of things that we saw happen this month in the ecosystem that we think are really important. So first is the launch of the Gravity Bridge and IBC on Cosmos. So these are, obviously if you're on this community call, you're likely aware of some of the updates on Cosmos, but this was a lot of work, and the Agoric team has been a core contributor on the design and architecture for IBC. So we're really thrilled to see this go live, and what this will mean for the Cosmos ecosystem and beyond, as IBC becomes a thing in its own right. And so next is Secret Network. So our friends over there launched an Ethereum bridge of their own back in, I believe it was actually December, and started a liquidity mining program in January. And as of yesterday, it looked to me like over $30 million was locked between Ethereum and various ERC20 assets that they support. So we view this as a really important validation that users are happy to move across blockchains to take advantage of opportunities if the opportunities are there. So really, if you're a developer and you're looking to understand user behavior, you can look to implementations like these and see that, to the extent you have an interesting opportunity for a user and an easy bridge to get their assets there, they will come. So we thought that was really great. All right, so let's talk a little bit in a little bit more detail about our roadmap here. As you can see, we have a bunch of concurrent development paths happening concurrently. So there's a lot of stuff that we're working on all at once. The demo in January was an important test of various aspects of the system. And as I mentioned earlier, there were some clear improvements coming out of that. And those go into the Treasury, Ethereum Bridge, and IBC boxes here. And the primary goal that we have is shooting towards our beta. So the beta will be the first test of the core economy components, where users, you guys, will come in, use a UI for the Treasury, use a UI for staking when we launch it, and that will be sort of the first next large date that we're shooting towards. So on the platform side, we have a bunch of ongoing work to scale performance of the system, and that will likely continue through beta, through the validator challenges, up to mainnet, likely beyond mainnet. But there's a bunch of important improvements that we're making there. And then we've got a lot of great input on driving a successful validator program. So you can see here, I've got validator challenges up as a date in the future here. What we want to ensure is that as users come in and are testing the system, we have specific things that they're looking to stress. And so more will be coming out about our validator program this month, which we're really excited to announce. So, and again, it's difficult to represent a complex roadmap in one slide here. So obviously some boxes are shaped in certain ways to make them fit. We have a lot of work that is ongoing that we've made a ton of progress on over the last month. So looking to see if there's anything else that I want to pull out here. I think one thing to keep in mind is that governance will likely come post beta. We will have plans for that, but on the beta itself, we'll launch with the Treasury, with Ethereum Bridge. We'll soon have staking, and then we'll be layering in additional functionality after that. Great. So let's talk a little bit about a couple of updated upcoming events that we have. So the first is a live event with Figment Networks, where Dean Tribble is our CEO, is going to join Figment to discuss our high-level use case, our ecosystem, and future roadmap. And then we also have the Citizens Cosmos podcast, which is a recording. It's an episode with Dean to explain Agoric's role in the Cosmos ecosystem and our future vision. And so we'll be sure to announce that when that podcast gets released. And finally, for those of you who are interested in understanding how to get involved, and obviously this will evolve as we continue to release new things. But right now we think there's three primary things that you should be doing. One, if you're interested in running a validator, you should join us in Discord and join the Validators channel to help prepare for testnet. So we have a very active Validators channel. Community is getting involved, and you can get help either from the team or from existing community members. Separately, we hope that you come and build on our alpha. So as we continue to release new features, get closer to mainnet, those of you that have either participated in previous hackathons or have experience building on our alpha, we're looking for early contributors to become community leaders as we approach mainnet. So, we encourage you to come get comfortable with our frameworks, understand how Agoric works, engage with our team, and then become a community leader yourself as we come towards launch. And then just be sure to, even if you don't want to become a validator, please do join our Discord. And that's where we announce things primarily. We also have a Telegram group, but announcements will be coming there. Stay engaged for opportunities coming up, which will include opportunities around beta, opportunities around being a validator, and then just announcements as we approach beta and mainnet. Great. So thanks very much, everybody. And if we have any questions coming in, I think, unfortunately, I'm hosting and presenting, so I haven't been able to track the YouTube questions. But let's see, I'll give a few minutes for anything that's come in that I should answer live. All right. So with that, please, obviously, for those of you watching this on recording, which we know happens frequently, come to Discord, ask us there. Happy to engage. Either myself or other people on the team are tracking Discord every day. So really excited to have all of you joining us on this journey, and we'll look forward to chatting next month with a lot of great updates. Thanks.